Let's go ahead and get rolling. Quick rundown of the day. We're going to do some tenor clef to warm up. We're going to work through a 7/7 modulation that is a little more challenging than what we did on Tuesday, and then we'll finish up with a rhythmic dictation. And just your friendly neighborhood reminder, the Unit 2 deadline is tonight at 11:59, so get your stuff in if you haven't done so already. This class has actually been super on top of things, so most of you are done or very close to being done. Okay, let's do a little tenor clef. That highlighted line, we are going to just speak and conduct through it. So we're not singing today. For this, we're just going to work on getting some solfege out. We're going to start at a nice normal tempo, and we're going to kind of consistently increase the tempo to the point where it's not anywhere near a tempo we would ever sing it at, but just to get you spitting the solfege out. Ignore the fermatas, and let's just give it a go. Tempo about here to start, and so, si, si, do, re, 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 si, do, re, mi, do, la, re, do, si, re, la, so, fa, so, do, la, fa, si, la, so. Obviously, the challenging parts are when you get to these moments where you have 16th notes and you've got to think a little bit quicker. Take 15 seconds and look through those three measures and iron them out. And let's try it again, same tempo. 1, 2, ready, and so, si, do, re, re, si, do, re, mi, do, la, do, si, re, la, so, fa, so, do, la, fa, si, la, so. Okay, a good habit to get into, especially when we're doing things like this, is when you're here, or even here and you're hanging out on the same note for a while, look ahead. As you're sitting on this half note, look ahead into the next measure. At least get your first maybe 2 notes so that you're not all of a sudden like playing catch up as you get to beat 3. All right, let's try a little faster. About here, 1, 2, ready, and so, si, do, re, si, do, re, mi, do, la, do, si, re, la, so, fa, so, do, la, fa, si, la, so. Last time, we're going to go obnoxiously fast, just see what you can catch. 1, 2, ready, and so, si, do, re, si, do, re, mi, do, la, do, si, re, la, so, fa, so, do, la, fa, si, la, so. All right, fine. Let's look into this 7/7 modulation then. Now the modulations we did on Tuesday, we used 2 7/7 chords that were 7s of their key. So we turned a 7/6/5 into a 7/4/2 or something like that. So all we had to do was rearrange the inversion. What we're going to do today is work with a 7/7 that is actually non-diatonic to the first key. So we've got a 7/7 of 5 that we then turn into just a regular 7/6/5. So not only are we adjusting the inversion, but we're also going to be giving it entirely new numbers as well. This is the progression that I just stole from Dallas to Apache. So if you sang this, you actually sang through this progression, or if you're planning on singing it in the next 13 hours, you're going to sing through this progression in some variant. But this is the progression that Mozart uses to move into B minor in that aria. So let's talk scale degrees to start. Looking at that top progression, the blue progression, we start out, we've got just our regular tonic triad, and then we take a first inversion 5 chord, just a 5 triad, so there's no 7th in it, so just 7, 2, 5 off of that leading tone 7, and then we get our nice full root position 5/7, this little deceptive cadence sounding like thing to bring us to 6. And then I'm going to skip the next chord for a second. Let's go to the 7/7/5. So if you remember from Theory 2 and Skills 2, the 7/7/5 is one of the chords that we introduced because it contains sharp 4. And in this case, in the 7/7/5, it actually is built off of sharp 4. So your root and your bass are going to be sharp 4. Now, we're going to start this in C minor. So if you want to put yourself in that key for a second, if that'll be helpful, sharp 4 is an F sharp. Now you're going to have to build minor thirds up off of that F sharp. So F sharp up a minor third gives you A. And A is actually not diatonic to this key either. So it's going to be sharp 4, and we're also going to have a raised scale degree 6. F sharp up a minor third to A up a minor third to C, which is scale degree 1, and C up a minor third to E flat, scale degree 3. Now, let's talk about that capital P 6/4. If you remember from Theory 1, 6/4 triads only occur in very specific instances. The most common one we see, obviously, is the cadential 6/4, but they also can be pedal or passing. This one, we're going from scale degree 6 in the bass to scale degree sharp 4 in the bass. This is a passing 6/4, which means that scale degree 5 is going to be the bass pitch that is passing from 6 to sharp 4. And we're going to build a 6/4 triad on that. It ends up being a 5/1/3, which is the same numbers we would sing for a cadential 6/4. It's just not functioning that way. What that also does is give us some great kind of parsimony between the 6th chord and that passing 6/4, and actually the top 2 pitches of your 7/7/5. So that 1 and 3 are staying there, that dyad remains, and we just kind of keep creeping the bass lower and lower. Okay. I would like us to just sing through this blue part of the progression once or twice. So here's a starting key for you. Let's sing on numbers and we'll see how you go. Ready, and 1, 3, 5, 3, 1, 7, 2, 5, 2, 7, 5, 7, 2, 4, 2, 7, 5, 6, 1, 3, 1, 6, 5, 1, 3, 1, 5. Find sharp 4. Sure, stay here. And now I want you to think about where that minor third is above this pitch. And let's build that 7/7/5. Ready, and sure, 6, 1, 3, 1, 6, sure. Okay. A couple other kind of fun things to keep in mind that will help you navigate this. Just remember that this is a half step here, so 5 to 6 in minor mode, you've got a half step in the bass, and then we actually do that same half step when we go down to the passing 6/4, and that same half step again as we go to the 7/7/5. So once we get to that root position 5/7, our bass is only scooting by half steps for the rest of that progression. Okay, let's try it again. This time you're going to do the 7/7/5 in time. I'm not going to stop you. And I won't sing this time, but I'll play with you. Ready, and just your bass moves. let's do just that part one more time. This time I'm going to back off even more. I'm going to give you your bass line, and I'll plop the triad at the very end of your arpeggiation. So you'll be able to check yourself at the end of each chord. Let's see it go. 1 and 2. Okay, now let's navigate this modulation that we have using that 7-7 of 5. We're going to turn it into a 7-6-5 in our new key. So if you remember the numbers for a 7 chord, you've got 7, 2, 4, and 6. Now on Tuesday, we were using flat 6 because we were using major keys on Tuesday. But since we're in a minor key now, we don't have to touch scale degree 6. We do have to remember, though, that it's leading tone 7 that we're using. Luckily, you don't have to really think about that very much because you're just repeating the same pitches from the 7-7 of 5. So you're going to now be calling them 2, 4, 6, and 7. And then for the rest of this progression, we have basically a walking bass line. We go 2 to 3, 4, 5, and then we cadence on tonic. So let's work out the numbers for these. Most of them I'm pretty sure that you would be able to handle, but first inversion 1 chord gives us 3, 5, 1. 2 half diminished 6, 5. So I'm going to write out the numbers first. 4, 6, 1, and then the root is 2. And then I want us to think about the construction of this. I think that this harmony is the most challenging one in this green progression. One thing that has helped my other classes is to consider that bottom triad. So 4, 6, 1, you're in a minor key. That's a 4 chord, right? You've got a minor triad on the bottom. And then at the very top, you're going to stick a whole step on the top. We're going to work really slowly through the back half of this progression to get you thinking about what intervals you're dealing with. This 1, 6, the bottom interval in a first inversion minor triad is actually a major third. And then you've got this P4 here, this perfect fourth here. They are going to feel enormous because you just sang a whole bunch of minor thirds and you sang them twice. So moving to a major third and a perfect fourth, it's going to feel really, really wide. The challenge with this green progression is on Tuesday, I stuck your 7 chords right next to dominant 7th chords. So we went from a flavor of a 7-7 to a 5-7 immediately. 5-7s are a key determining harmony. They are what lets you feel grounded in your new key. With the green progression, we're going TPDT as soon as we get off the 7 chord. So it can take a little bit before you really feel like you know where you are harmonically and tonally. So it's a little challenging, which is why I'm putting all of these intervals in there to hopefully maybe give you some stepping stones. Let's go from the pivot chord. So we're going to sing it twice. We're going to sing the 7 chord twice. And then we're going to really slowly work through that green progression. So starting from the 7-7 of 5. Ready, and sure 6, 1, 3, 1, 6, sure. Change your numbers. 2, 4. Now 2 to 3 in a minor key is a half step. So find 3. And then I want you to think major third up from here. So sing 3 to 5. 3, 5. Now I want you to find 1 in your head. And let's sing the whole triad. 3, 5, 1, 5, 3. Now find 4, go up a whole step. 4. Now I want you to think about that minor triad. And let's sing that entire 7th chord. 4, 6, 1, 2, 1, 6, 4. Build your 5, 7. 5, 7, 2, 4, 2, 7. Now we feel established in our key. Resolve for me. All right. Let's go back to the same spot. So we'll sing our pivot chord both times and we'll work through that green progression a little bit faster / without me stopping you every other note. So from the 7, 7 to 5. Ready, and sure, 6, 1, 3, 1, 6, sure. New numbers. 2, 4, 6, 7, 6, 4, 2. Up a half step. 3, 5, 1, 5, 3. 4, 6, 1, 2, 1, 6, 4. And resolve. All right. Let's try and take the whole thing all at once. I will play with you. I won't sing. I will occasionally give you hints as you're going through. And let's just see how you go. Ready? From the beginning. Change your numbers. Half step here. Nice 5, 7. And resolve it. Okay. Now, if we're talking overall key scheme, we went with that progression from our starting 1 to a minor, so we went to a minor key based off of an altered scale degree 3. So it was actually, we went from C minor to E minor. So minor 1 to a raised root minor quality 3 chord. Now looking ahead to unit 3, for your quiz, we're going to be asking you to talk to us about some modulating progressions, but it's not going to be really so much concerned with what key area did we go to. So your first quiz was like, did we go from 1 to major 3 or 1 to flat 6? This one is going to be more focused on how did we get from key X to key Y. So did we use a reinterpreted 7-7? Did we use a German 6 that we turned into a 5-7 of some sort? And we'll work on those next unit. But so be thinking about that, kind of the mechanics of the modulation, how we get ourselves from one key to the other versus the entirely focusing on the overall key scheme. Okay, we have 10 minutes, so we're going to do a little rhythm dictation. So go ahead and grab a writing implement and sketch yourself out just 2-4. You're going to need 4 bars of 2-4. And I would like you to see if you can get this in 2 hearings. I'm going to stop the screen share so I can look at my notes. Let's see how you do. So I'd like to see if you can get this in 2 hearings. And I'll give you a third as a kind of bonus feature to double check your work. So it'll be 4 bars of 2-4. Tempo about here. 1 and 2. Ta 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 ta. Okay, here it is again. 1 and 2. Ta 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 ta. All right, so ideal world, you've got all of it. If you do have some gaps, I'll do it one more time. Fill in whatever holes you have. If you do think you have it, tell what you have along with me and make sure that as you're reading the notation that you have down, it actually does match with what you're hearing. 1 and 2. Ta 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 ta. Okay, now let's go ahead and put it in notation. So your first bar forced you to really consider the differences between 2 consecutive beats that each were divided into 3 pieces. So your first beat had a duple division, and your second beat was triplets. 3 divisions in each beat, but treated very differently. And then your second bar was just a big, fat quarter note triplet. Third bar, we're back to duple divisions with 16th notes, and then a pair of eighths. And then fourth bar, back to triple with 2 pairs of eighth note triplets. Now that you see it in front of you, if that is different from what you had, let's all conduct and speak this one together. 1 and 2. Ta 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 ta. And last thing we're going to do, I'm going to stick a repeat sign on it. Let's do it in canon. So this should get you some cool 3 against 4 and 2 against 3 occurrences. So follow me by a bar and put a repeat sign on it. 1 and 2. ta 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 ta. Fine. Okay. Again, looking ahead to Unit 3, like I mentioned on Tuesday, you will be responsible for building your own rhythm canon that expresses 2 against 3 and 3 against 4. So we'll talk more about that both in class and in the prep video for that assignment. So really quickly before I set you off, I'm going to share my browser screen with you real quick. So this is the view that instructors get with Google Classroom. And Professor Miyake and I share the same Google Classroom page. So this second column is everything that hasn't been submitted yet. So just to let you know, I'm going to try to get things back to you as fast as humanly possible between today and tomorrow. But I'm going to have probably about 150 videos to go through. So I love you and I'm not ignoring you. I know that your video is only 1 minute and 20 seconds long, but so are the other 149 I have to go through. So as I'm going to be kind of glued to Google Classroom today and tomorrow, so as things roll in, I'm going to be trying to kick them back out as quickly as possible to give you a chance to revise by Sunday. If you've already submitted stuff and are considering revision, you have until Sunday. So keep that in mind. I know, like I said, this class has been really good and a lot of you are done, and if not done, you're really close to being done. So that was just so that you know that I'm not ignoring you. I love you all dearly, but I have a lot of videos I need to weed through in the next couple of days. So I will return things as quickly as I can. There will be a prep video for Unit 3 releasing on Monday. It's like 4 minutes long. And so we're just asking that you watch that. Unit 3 is my unit, so all the prep videos are going to be with me again. So that will be out on Monday just to give you a preview as to what is going on in Unit 3, what you're going to be responsible for, etc. So with that, then, I will let you guys go. Have a wonderful weekend, and I look forward to seeing some of your shining faces on video in the next 12 hours or so. Bye, guys.